Okay, so technology-wise, we used quite a bit of tech in the making of our final film. The first off being the camera, the Panasonic camera, bridge style. It's a pretty, it's a sort of a half-decent mid-range camera, mainly used for photography. It wasn't a dedicated film camera, however, it did produce some good quality film. In terms of the microphone, the mic wasn't as good. We found that out in a couple of clips. However, we got around that by using an iPhone 6S, which had a much better mic. We managed to pick up sort of little bits of audio, things that we wanted to use. It was also really small as well, which was great, so we could sort of hide it in certain places. In terms of editing, we used the iMacs, and they've got really big screens, which is great. We could all sort of sit in a group and see what we were editing. They're also really fast as well, which helped loads in terms of processing our film. In terms of the editing itself, the software we used, Final Cut Pro, really professional software. It's got loads of features on it and was great for what we were using it for. Maybe a little bit too professional at times, can be quite confusing, sort of things being hidden in different places, but overall were really good software to use and worked really well with what we were doing. Okay, so we had a few issues with technology, especially when we were out filming. The cameras, they liked it to run out of charge just randomly. We had that a couple of times where we had to go all the way back, charge up the cameras and then go back out again. But other than that, there wasn't really any other problems. The only thing we did encounter when looking for music was trying to find music that was royalty free, because a lot of music these days has got copyrights, so we couldn't use it because it would be taken off YouTube. So instead we had to sort of find music that was royalty free that we could use, and we managed to do that, luckily. We encountered a few limitations when filming with the technology. The first one being the iPhone mic. It wasn't quite sensitive enough. It didn't pick up everything, and also there was a lot of wind noise, which could be annoying at times. And the only other limitation we had was with the camera, the lens to zoom in on it. It was a bit jumpy. It wasn't quite smooth enough, so therefore we couldn't get any really good zoom shots. Fortunately, in our case, we didn't really need any, but it would have been nice to try some out and maybe sort of put some in somewhere to sort of enhance our work. In my opinion, no, not really. Our intention was to make a horror film opening, and I think the sort of technology we used helped us to do so. Admittedly, it could have been slightly better, but for the budget of our film, which was relatively low, the camera equipment we used and sort of everything sort of like that, it was actually, it didn't stop us at all from realising what we were doing. Okay, so yeah, we did have one idea that came up when we were using the technology. The camera we were using, the Panasonic one, had a flip-out screen. So in order to get a really interesting shot, we put it up high in a tree, and we flipped the screen out and turned it down so that we could see what was happening. And we recorded a really high-angle shot on the protagonist as he ran through the forest. This was great, it added a bit of interesting sort of as to what shots we were doing, something a bit different from the sort of mid and long shots seen throughout the rest of the film. Is it a help or a hindrance? It's both, really. It's a help when it works. When it works great, and it can really produce some fantastic work. But it's a hindrance when it doesn't go well. For example, the batteries, when they ran out, it was really annoying. We had to go all the way back and charge them all the way up again before we could even start filming. So in my case, yes, I had used the tech before. The Panasonic cameras, I have a similar camera at the moment. So most of the buttons and things I knew, we could adjust the contrast for some shots, and we even used a bit of manual focus in the shots, such as when the protagonist falls over. We got the right manual shot there. It was a bit of manual focus, which really sort of produced a really nice shot. So my personal input into the editing was actually finding the music. Again, as I said earlier, royalty-free music is really hard to find, especially on a really low budget. So that was my job, was to find that. And also the sound effects, sort of placing them whereabouts they should go in the film, lining them up correctly with the correct shot. which could be quite hard to do at times. So could I make any suggestions to the technology? Yes, I think definitely in terms of the microphone, we could try and source a slightly higher quality microphone, maybe sort of on a bit of an arm, so that we could sort of put it over the top of who we're filming, so then again it could still be out of sight. And also maybe the camera. I mean, I know for what we were doing it was really good, it was ample, but it could have just been that little bit better, got a little bit higher quality, and made it look a little bit more professional. It sort of would have improved the film sort of marginally, if the quality was just slightly better.